Hello, hello, hello. Paul made me a delicious, I don't want to spill this, on the keyboard. A delicious, delicious protein berry smoothie. Vegan, whole food. It tastes fantastic, tastes better than ice cream. I absolutely love it. So, this is what we need to drink. And in Germany, we say zum Wohl before we drink something. But, that's what they do when they drink alcohol too. But I don't drink alcohol. I say zum Wohl, which means for your wellness. Okay. And this literally here, this drink, means for your wellness. The alcohol is not for your wellness. Okay, you need to know that. Write that on a piece of paper, hang it over your bed. And look at it. Day and night, and when you wake up in the morning, or whenever you wake up during the day, you look at that paper over your bed that says alcohol is not for your wellness. But the berry smoothie is, okay? Beautiful. It's heaven. And the color, look at this color. I wish I could share that with Sandy and the hacker, Kelty and Yas and Pat and all of you honey bunnies out there, my buddies, my friends, my oldies, old timers from the internet. Okay. You can make that yourself. You should sell your whiskey bottle. I don't know. Those are expensive. My dad used to have a wet bar. I can only shake my head over that. That's so completely outdated now. We need juice bars now today instead. So it needs to be recycled into everything needs to be recycled. Everything you take for granted or think that's everything that you see around you that society made, including building with wood, this chair here, the computer too even. Everything needs to be reformed. It's the truth. I'm not making this up. It is the truth. Truth. Okay, with the German accent. Truth. It's the truth. Okay, as my friend Anneliese was talking always. She said, I cry every day for 1 hour at the center. And we were all like, good. That is the way to do it. So, well, I cry every day for 5 hours. It's even better. You get more buck for your money. I'm sorry, I'm in a giddy mood. I was talking to Bob that when the sun was still here on this I don't know what they call it, a cement slab that we have here, and we sit here in the sun when we get up, in front of the apple tree, and then Paul was in the mood to bring up stuff from the past. And whatever he brings up from the past, it's all incredibly unpleasant. So whoever he has encountered, I mean most people, that's why I had to laugh so hard that I had to cough, because the kind of people he talked about is always some of the stories I already know. He's told them many times, but he'll continue to tell these stories because they're really terrible, but that's why they're so incredibly funny. For example, oh baby, oh baby, oh baby, I see you baby. Oh my gosh, the rat is back in the tree. Oh my god, eating from an apple. I wish I could show. Oh my gosh, she got herself an entire apple now and is carrying that apple deep into the apple tree now. But she got a small apple, but she couldn't be carrying a big one. She got a small apple and carrying that in her mouth deep into the apple tree now, and disappeared from my vision. I can't see her now, but I know she's in there eating that apple now. That cute little thing is that. Oh my gosh, I'm always so happy to see you. Oh my gosh, it is a delight to see you. Yes. So other people, I will tell other people about the rat, and they go, "That's horrible." Or Paul will say, "They'll come in the house and they'll chew all the electric cables and the outer insulation part." My guinea pig and I don't think the guinea pigs did it. My rabbit did that. We had a rabbit when we were growing up. My parents got my brother and me a rabbit, and the rabbit was free in our home. He could go anywhere he wanted to, and he would systematically chew up those electric cords whenever there were some electric cords that were exposed. He would chew that through, and then they would be broken and not functioning anymore. And so my dad had to replace all of that with like a hard shell casing because of the rabbit. And that's what I loved about my parents. They would make accommodations for the animals instead of blaming it on the animals and caging them and just keeping it the way they had it before. So no, they will adapt to that situation when there is a rabbit in the house. Okay, and sometimes there'll be an electrician coming over, and he'll be working there, and suddenly the rabbit would come up to him, and he would like, what? You have a rabbit here in this high-rise building. That was always funny. One time I was at a boyfriend's house. That was also back in Germany. And a friend of his came into the room and we were talking. And his friend was sitting in the way where he was facing my boyfriend's closet, and I had my guinea pig there with me, and all of a sudden the guinea pig comes out from under the closet, looks at him like, and he was like, "You have a guinea pig?" And some people get really terrified of seeing a rat, and I just don't understand. How in the world would anyone I think they're conditioned or something. I don't know what it is. Why would that be horrible? There's nothing horrible. This is a lovely living being. She got herself an apple, bit into the apple with that shark mouth, sharp teeth, and pulled the apple off and carried the apple into the apple tree and into a safe place somewhere, into a high off the ground, away from the cat, and into some kind of nice, safe apple tree niche and branch. And she's sitting there now eating that apple in peace. And yeah, yesterday I saw her. I was like, I don't know, like 2 feet away from her with my face, standing there in front of the apple tree, admiring the apples, and suddenly I hear this movement. I thought someone was peeking through the ivy, and then I said, someone out there? And there was the rat looking right at me, chewing, and then going for a big apple with both hands like this, but she couldn't get that apple, of course. That apple was too big for her. She couldn't pull that off the branch, but she was biting into that apple. Those apples they're like pink and red, delicious. I just ate one. And she or he, I don't know what gender the rat is. I don't know. There could be a couple, so. But the rat I saw yesterday could have been the same rat. The color is the same. So the rat was biting into the apple from the side like this. Crunch, crunch, crunch with that shark mouth. It was so cute. And I stood there and I said, "You cute little thing." And she was not afraid at all. Not afraid. So I was talking to the rat for a long time. And I really enjoy that, For me, that's being in the present moment. I encounter an animal. Sometimes birds come up very close too, because they sense that I am loving, I radiate out a loving energy, a calm now moment energy of, just an energy of calmness and peace. So, and it's very nice. I really like that. And I'm so infinitely grateful for all of these red apples. And they taste so good. They're sour, but very, very delicious. Very good. And I make apple smoothies with those a lot. And all you need to cut up some apples, preferably wild harvested and without any kind of toxins on it. Cut them up. You take the apple seeds out. You can seed those. You can put them in the compost, or you can throw it back into nature or onto the lawn. We had one apple tree actually grow. I planted seeds in one of the pots a couple of years ago. It grew. They grow slowly, but it is a couple of feet tall now. It's pretty nice. It doesn't have apples yet, but that will take longer. It will have to get much bigger for that. So hopefully they're all gonna make it. I hope the avocado tree that also grew from a seed in the compost, I hope that avocado tree is also gonna make it. It's still a very young avocado tree, so, and sometimes the winters are very cold, so we're probably gonna have to move that back into the greenhouse before it gets really cold. And then once we have the real large commercial greenhouses, then all of that will be doing really well and will grow really fast, and all of that will get just the right amount of sunshine and watering and moisture in the air and warmth particularly, so even in the winter time. So I'm looking forward to that. We're going to the desert in about a week, and I am really excited, looking forward to that. In the back of my head, what I have in mind is that dream about the basset hounds, finding those on that construction site at night. So I mean, the odds are against that, like winning the lottery, but yeah, one never knows. So who knows what might happen. And yeah, we kind of look official, like official park rangers. That's how we look like, and that gives us some protection, and that's nice. One time there were a bunch of partiers pulling up onto that one camping parking lot out there. I'm not gonna say where, but it was still winter time, like it was, I don't know what that was, in spring, and we were there with the papa dog, and I was getting nervous a little bit about those party type of people pulling up there. I thought they're gonna be making a bunch of noise. And then they were starting to make a whole lot of noise with real loud music. Ta-dum, ta-dum, ta-dum. I already saw the glowing rods and all of that. And then the guy said, "Turn that off. Don't mess with those Oregon State officials." And they packed up and left. I was like, spot on. No, that made the evening so much better. And so the rest of the people that were peacefully camping there, they were all extremely grateful. So yeah, it's good to look a little bit authoritarian. Was a very, I mean, who uses, very few people are used to going camping in a utility van, so, but more and more people get the idea. Obviously. So, but yeah, I want to talk about health and healing and also psychology in this video, and I don't know what to address first. Definitely making juices, making blends. Dr. Scholl's recommends getting a juicer and putting the vegetables in and just extracting the juice out of the vegetables. I personally prefer to make blends or to make bread pastes with a food processor where actually the entire plant is included. There are sunbeams of love now for you. That's beautiful. Okay, sunbeams of love, like a golden sunbeams, spaceship beams from a supernova coming in to give us love and protection from the blue god. So I prefer to use a blender or a food processor because I want the whole plant. I want the fiber with it. Fiber is very, very important. Whole plant substance is really, that's really essential for healing. Not extracting something out of a plant, not getting some kind, particularly not isolating some kind of component out of it through whatever methods they have. I don't know. hexane solution and oil separation processes and whatever they're using, in the food making. Dr. Scholl's really calls it merchandise instead of food. So, because it's not whole food. The most of the food that you buy in the store, and most of the food that you buy is full of salt, sugar, refined salt, refined sugar. The minerals had already been removed from it, which makes it not whole anymore. When it's not whole anymore, it is not beneficial. It has to stay in a whole complex form, molecular form particularly, because then it feeds you instead of creating some kind of chelation process where if you put just refined salt into your body, it will actually draw water out of your body. And I think refined sugar does the same. So you don't want that to happen. Of course you want to have a balance. You need to keep this balance of whole substances combined with water in your body. Okay, your body consists of 80% water, and it has to stay like that. It's very, very important, for the body to function, for the blood being pumped into every single capillary in your skin, in your brain. Okay, it's very important. Your eyes, everything, very important. And I noticed that when I do clay masks at night, which I do, that actually has helped my vision quite a bit. So I feel like I have much clearer vision now. And I used to have irritated eyes from all the pollutants and all of that. And I don't have irritated eyes anymore. I get maybe irritated in the head over some nonsense in the world, but my eyes, they don't get so irritated anymore. So that's pretty nice. It's really good. So sodium bentonite clay, for Sandy, for all of us, this is very, very important for our animals. I keep telling the people in the Basset Hound group on Facebook about sodium bentonite clay, how important that is, to add that to the dog food, like 1 tablespoon of it. And I'm gonna lean back, make it more comfortable. I'm gonna get my smoothie. And I take that every day as a supplement as well, and diatomaceous earth and kelp seaweed, and we gave that to the Papa dog. And I recommend to all people, to everyone with the animals, to give these supplements. There is a hummingbird eating the nectar from the white flowers. This is so good. This is so good. I still have to get grounded, so I'm gonna get grounded today for an hour or 2 maybe. I already did some work on my art project called my wish box. Okay, so I recommend to people to make something like this. get started with something like this, the way you do this, and some people, they might think, this is ridiculous or whatever. No, it's not. This is wonderful to do this. This will be boosting your immune system. I guarantee you, it will be boosting your immune system. If you get a cardboard box, okay, just, you get deliveries from Amazon or something, or Walmart. You take a cardboard box. You can take a really large one, okay, where a big recliner chair was in it, or what, any size cardboard box, okay. And then you take masking tape. Masking tape is okay, but duct tape works better, particularly for larger boxes. So you take, and don't have greasy hands while you do it, because then the tape won't stick. So you take duct tape, and you completely seal that box. Make sure nothing is in it. Okay, it's very important. Then you close it, you seal it all up with the duct tape on every seam, okay? You put the duct tape over, that's what I always do. Make sure it sticks good, okay? And you have that entire box duct taped. Ducty. I always call it, that's the nickname I use, Ducty. My Ducty. And I'd always tell Paul, what would I do without my Ducty? That's an essential part of my artwork process. And then you go to the hardware store, and you get yourself your favorite colors. You can get high gloss acrylic indoor decorating paint. You can get, I don't know, they have different sizes that they sell. I recommend the really large one, the gallon containers, and then you can also mix them up in yogurt containers and mix your own colors with it. It's a lot of fun to do that. And I recommend cotton swabs for painting. For stirring the paint up, you can use, I don't know, you can use an old utensil, something that you might not want to use anymore, or you can use a stick or from a branch. Like, we have a lot of that kind of stuff falling off the trees when there's a storm. And sometimes he does some trimming. You can cut yourself a twig, and you can stir the paint with that. I don't take their paint stirring sticks because they're made out of wood, and I avoid taking anything that's made out of wood because I don't want to contribute to this consumption of wood in general. Whether I get it for free or have to pay for it, I don't want to contribute to that consumption of wood products at all, because we can't afford to cut any more trees at all. So, and I really walk my talk with that. So, and then you stir up the paint, and you can make the most amazing colors, and then you can paint that cardboard box in those colors. You can just put dots on it, or stripes, or hearts, or butterflies, or flowers, or I didn't paint these here, but I painted this here, the blue god, but I don't know if this is showing. The blue god I put on with acrylic color, but yeah, it doesn't show. I have better colors for t-shirt paint. You know, they come in like a tube like this with a fine opening, and then if you squeeze out the paint, then it has just the right consistency where it stays tubular on the t-shirt paint. And you've probably seen some of my t-shirt paint on my t-shirts. So I always put the blue god symbol on it, or sometimes the 8 on the side, which is also the blue god symbol. But mainly this year, where there's an eye, and here's the eye, there's the eye, okay, and then there is the nose like this, and the mouth. So usually the blue god in dog form. And so that's what I paint also on my artwork boxes. And I painted that on my wish box, all of those beautiful things, hearts, flowers, the blue god, the 8 on the side. And I paint this all very, very in a very saturated way. Like I said before, I use many applications. And then it's very, very glowing and very, very saturated and gorgeous and lush and looks amazing. So yeah, that's on one side of the box. I have an animal, which is the really also again the blue god in dog form, but that also represents all animals. It also represents a horse, a pig, cow, and the European Basset Hound. And so this is all of these things are in my wish box. All of these hearts that I painted on it. I wish for love in the world. I painted the blue god on that, and to protect all of us, and representing peace and love. So, and I recommend for people to do this, make yourself a wish box artwork, and you paint on it what you want to see in the world, not what you are afraid of, not war, not violence. Don't make it when you make a wish box, you only want to paint on it the things that you really wish for, that you want to see: peace, healing, love, and all of that. And you can also make another artwork then, where you paint out your gut feelings and your fears and all of that. So a lot of artists do that, of course. The artist Niki de Saint Phalle, I don't know if you know this person, Sandy. She is from France. She's living in France, and I'm sure you heard about her. World famous artist Niki de Saint Phalle. She was half French and half US American, and she made these really, really large, like semi-truck size women, abstract women, and she was painting hearts on them. Very hippie culture type of artwork, very much like Burning Man type of culture, those type of art projects that they have. But of course her art projects, they were very determined, and they were very professional, of course, and very well made and very glowing, with many color applications to make it very glowing. And she inspired me a lot. So when I was 6 years old, her nanas, she called them nanas, they came to our hometown, and half of the community was for them and half of them were against them. And that's almost always the case, like wherever you go. It seems like there's a lot of people that are against modern art, because and that's what I want to get into in terms of psychology. I'm going to get into this in a moment. Why are they opposed to modern art? Why are they opposed to creating something that doesn't really serve any direct purpose, that just stands there and glows with many different colors and happiness? Why does that piss people off? So I want to get into this really. But, I was overjoyed when those figures came and they were placed next to the river. And I couldn't understand why some people were mad, so why are they mad? Those are my friends. I call them my friends. So I replicated them with clay. And I painted them in the same colors as Niki de Safal painted them. And one was standing upside down. That's my favorite one. With that big foot in the air, with this ghost green. I was always fascinated as a child with this zinc green, like when copper turns into this ghost green. My dad always called it zinc green. So, or I guess it's I don't know, some kind of oxidization process, when you see copper domes, and the weather gets on it, the water gets on it, and then it creates a patina of this mold green type of color, and that's my favorite color. Absolutely loved, always was fascinated with that. So when I saw those nanas, I was overjoyed that she used this green. So I replicated, and underneath all of the replications I made from all three of those really, really large sculptures that she made, mine were like this size, handful replications, and I also painted them. And underneath the paintings of them, I wrote Freund, which means friend. So I viewed them as my friends. I viewed them as my soulmates. I viewed Niki de Safal as my soulmate, of course. Later on, I really wanted to visit her. She was living in San Diego towards the end of her life, and she had her big house and studio there. Was still working, and I wanted to visit her. Desperately wanted to visit her. But because of the spray paint that she had been using her whole life, I don't know how old she was, in her 70s, I guess, when she got the C word, which I don't even want to say, because of using those spray paints and breathing that in all the time. And then she died from it because she was just perpetually exposed to that, and it was very difficult for her system to keep up cleaning that out. So using spray paint is absolutely dangerous, for people's health. For anyone who works with spray paint, whether they're painting the outer skin of a car or motorcycle or whatever they're spray painting or using that to make artwork with, or graffiti, it's dangerous for your lungs, okay? And it's not good. It also gets into the air in general, and then other beings have to breathe that, and it's not good. And it also, that type of paint, it's not acrylic, that's not water-based, that's some kind of paint thinner type of, I don't know what I think acetone, which, the nail polish remover is acetone. That's acetone based paint, and that is not good for us, for our skin, lungs, environment. So I stay away from that. I use acrylic paint, which is water based. It's also not ideal if that gets into the groundwater. That's why I use cotton swabs and I put, once I use those to paint something with, and the stuff comes off, then I throw that in the trash can. And then it doesn't have to pollute anything. So I see a bird is just up there chirping. It's very sweet. So I learn all of these things. I want to share that with other people because I think it's important that we get informed about health and our everyday lifestyle. It's very, very important to live a wholesome, good, positive, everyday lifestyle, and to embrace your inner child. And I think, and that's what I wanted to discuss. So I think what I personally believe is that the people that are afraid of modern art, or that are triggered by modern art, or they will see, for example, Patricia Piccinini. That's another amazing artist. She's from South Africa and she lives in Australia now, and she makes photorealistic drawings, but of hybrid human animals. And that too, that theme by itself pissed a lot of people, because a lot of people get scared, of those chimeras, as they call them. And a lot of people used her sculptures, photos of her sculptures that look absolutely real. I mean, they could be used for horror movies and stuff like that. So incredibly real. And so she has this one sculpture of almost like you put two photos together in the computer and the computer merges them, and then it becomes one creature, of a woman squatting down and a rat, and then both of these images then become merged, and then you have this rat type of woman squatting there. And that's what she created, not through merging of pictures. She has such a vivid imagination. She can create this from just out of her mind. She can take a pencil and draw something like this photorealistically just out of her mind. She is absolutely fascinating. I would love to meet Patricia Piccinini. She's my age, by the way. She's 56. And she's fascinated. What fascinates her the most is the reproduction process. But then she creates that with hybrid human animals, even hybrid human insects, and even hybrid or alive motorcycles that have babies, and really amazing artists. And modern art in general pisses a lot of people off because their ego clings to that what they know. Okay, they don't want anything to morph out of proportions. That is very unsettling to most people. I guess that's also a very rudimentary fear in general. An animal would not be afraid of that, of course. No. But the human brain has evolved in a way where they have these archetypical, I guess C.G. Jung was already talking about this in the 1800s. These archetypical ideas of how something is supposed to look like, and this is also partly inherited. It's also partly genetic. It's also, images that can even, that goes very deep into metaphysics, of course. Certain ideas can actually be inherited. This goes very far. This science is at the very beginning of this now, but So all it's just like ingrained already in people's minds and people's brains by nature already. Certain archetypical fears of certain faces, of certain expressions, and so on. But then society, and that's what I'm aiming at. That's what I'm trying to dig deeper into in general. So that's really my main subject is what does society do? So society does a humongous chunk of this, of prejudice. So the main prejudice comes actually from indoctrination, and that comes from society, that comes from talk radio and churches and religion and societies, enclave societies like the Mormons, where they don't even have contact with the outside world, and then they perpetuate something, or Amish type of people where they really stick to themselves and they don't mix with other people. Then they perpetuate something like a lifestyle from 1800, and they're afraid of bringing anything new into it, because then that they feel like that would be sacrilegious against their religion and so on. But of course, the internet, and that's why a lot of those people, that's why they don't want their kids to be on the internet, for that very only reason. Not to protect the kids, but to prevent the kids from being influenced by multicultural events and looking at the world, at the whole world, seeing everything, comparing things, and suddenly putting things into perspective and learning, which is the wholesome process. They're trying to prevent that in their children. But it's very difficult for them to keep their kids away from the internet, of course. But the Muslims, I said it before, they kill their children when they find them on the internet. That's why that is the absolute worst religion there is. That is the most dangerous religion. And then there are some other very, very violent religions as well. I saw documentaries on it. It's absolutely unspeakable what kind of enclaves of religious type of cults are out there, and the kind of atrocities that they do, and when they have their entire commune or community, or when they have politicians involved in this, then it's not even going to be exposed, or people are not even going to go to they're not even being arrested, they're not going to prison, they're not being prosecuted. And that's really, really sad. That's why we need the AGI robots. But I want to get into why are people so opposed to modern art. And the reason why, that's what I believe, that's what I observe also, is because they feel like they cannot control it. Okay, the ego cannot control something that is totally out of the norm. They call it crazy then, and all of that. So they call that insane, when it's actually reversed. The person who is afraid of modern art is insane. Okay. The person who is not afraid of modern art is very well and very sane. Okay, it's exactly reversed. So I'm making a video. So I make these videos to set the record straight, to get people to dig into all of this, and to really start questioning their their ways of their society, what they have drilled into them, they need to start questioning all of these kind of things that they do. That, for example, I watched this documentary film. There was a girl. She grew up in a Satanist cult, and she suffered, but she didn't even, she knew she was suffering, but she didn't really. When we're children, we don't question the adults. See, we're too much to the mercy. We also don't have a comparison, and that's what she said. It was very smart of her. She's only 15, but very intelligent and reflective. She already said she didn't have a comparison to anything else. So they thought this was how everyone is living in the whole world. They thought doesn't feel good, but this is what you're supposed to do, and this is how everyone lives, where people are being cut open in front of children, and blood and worms. She thought that is what people are supposed to do, or something. And in the same way, that's how they grow up in Islam. They don't question it. That's how they grow up in Christianity and all these Christian cults. They think that's how it's supposed to be. Or in society in general, where an entire nation has a specific view on something, and then people think, and then the larger the community, the less they question it. So because they think, but they're all doing it, they wouldn't. If it was wrong, then how come they all do it? Because they're all wrong. See, that's a child would never ever even get this idea that the adults could all be wrong. Okay, it doesn't feel good, but me growing up as a child, I thought they must be right because they're adults. I didn't question it. I started questioning much later. I started questioning at 25, really. And I heard that's when actually the skull has developed. That's when the entire skull has developed to that point where some parts of the hemispheres have, I don't know, they have bridged or something. I don't know exactly how it works, but I heard that once that's grown in a way where the two hemispheres are bridged in some places, then then we have the ability to actually question and really do abstract thinking. That's when I started to really question stuff and also pay attention to other information, also paying attention to psychology, starting to read Arjana's books and getting deeper into psychology. So it's very important to question things. This is part of our healing journey. Questioning is healing, actually. It's that important. But we have to dissolve our resistance to standing strong alone. So that's the requirement for it. You have to be willing to stand alone and strong against mainstream, against that what you have been drilled with your entire life, from your parents, from society, and so on. And we all have. So don't feel bad that you have been drilled with this. We all have been drilled, but we must stand up against it. We must question it. Obviously, we need to put things to the test, right? Is it true what they said? Let me put it to let me just use a ridiculous example. Like, society says, wear a winter coat in winter. I'll go like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I don't even need to put it to the test. I can clearly see that that feels better, right? So, but then there are things they tell us that may not feel so good, but we accept it hook, line, and sinker because they said it, because everyone says that, and then we accept it, right? So let's question these kind of things, particularly when we sit in meditation and feel into ourselves. Then we get clear on what feels good and what doesn't feel good. So trust your gut instincts with that. Don't live your life against what your body actually wants and needs. Okay? And if that what your body wants and needs stands in conflict with your parents or your society or whatever, then you must question your parents and society. Do that for your body, okay? Biology first, okay? 5555. The blue god gives me a thumbs up on this statement, okay? So, okay, you guys take care. Be well.